Hold on 1 second, Eric. Okay, we're good to go. It's on TV. And City Clerk, it's all yours. You're good to go.
Hold on, Alex is not on his desk.
Oh.
Alex, we're going to start.
Ready? Are we ready? Can you hear me?
Yes, it's on TV. You're live, sir. Go ahead.
Yes. All right. The April 14, 2020 regular meeting of the Hawthorne City Council is called to order with all members present. I'll ask our city manager, Arnie Schodberg, to please do an invocation however he would like. And I would like to ask Councilwoman Olivia Valentine to do the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Thank you. Dear Lord, please guide us to make the best decision for our citizens and for the city. Help our city council and help our citizens to cope with this crisis we are dealing with right now, and help us with a successful meeting tonight. Amen.
Amen. Sounds good.
Please place your right hand over your heart. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the
republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. City Clerk, can you please read the guidelines for oral communication?
Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So there were no phone calls or cards. So should I still read it?
Yes.
Okay. During oral communications, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items.
I cannot hear.
We lost him.
It's froze.
Can you continue? Can you repeat that, please?
There is no sound from.
Yeah, sorry guys, I keep getting kicked out. During oral communications, speakers shall. Say that again?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. During oral communications, speakers shall have 3 minutes to state their business. The Brown Act prohibits the City Council from providing a detailed response or acting upon any items not contained on the agenda. The governing body, as a body, shall have the discretion of the close of the oral communications to refer remarks to the city manager for study, investigation, report, and or recommendation.
Mr. City Clerk, do you have any communications from the public through email or through telephone?
No, I do not.
Okay. So I have nobody else wanting to speak. So I'll declare oral communications close ordered. We're going to have the agenda on the screen for the benefit of the residents who are watching and who will watch this later. We're going to scroll down the agenda so that you can see. That's the screen that we're sharing. Mr. Clerk, can we have your consent calendar, please, sir?
Yes, you may. Mr. Mayor, I have 9 items on my consent calendar for your approval. Item 6, approval of city council minutes for the regular meeting of June 25th, 2019. Item 7, approval of city council minutes for the special meeting of January 16th. Item 8, approval of waiver of full readings of resolutions and ordinances on tonight's agenda. Item 9, city treasurer's request approval of the warrants. Item 11, resolution number 8171, a resolution of the City Council of Hawthorne, California, to approve all applications for the measure of funds from the Los Angeles County Regional Park and Open Space District funding for all projects and in conjunction with other capital improvement projects. Item 12, resolution number 8180, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, adopting a list of projects for fiscal year 2021 funded by SB1, the Road Repair and Accountability Act of 2017. Item 13, resolution number 8181, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, proclaiming April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Wednesday, April 29, 2020 as Denim Day in Hawthorne. Item 14, resolution number 8184, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, approving the City of Hawthorne Local Hazard Mitigation Plan. Items 15, resolution number 8186, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, designating authorized agents to execute for and behalf of the City of Hawthorne for financial assistance from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, and the California Office of Emergency Services, Cal OES, for recovering costs associated with declared emergencies for adoption.
I would like to pull 12 and 15 for discussion.
12 and 15 have been pulled. I make a motion on all other items.
Second.
I have a second from Mayor Pro Tem Montero. I made the motion. Please vote on those items. Go ahead.
Okay, so you're gonna vote either yay, nay, or abstain.
Roll call, please.
So Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Tejeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
and Mayor Vargas.
Yes. Discussion,
The
council.
vote reflects Mayor.
Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to, are we doing number 12?
Okay, we're gonna give the city clerk an opportunity to repeat the roll call. Go ahead. Well, we'll wait for him to, Mr. City Clerk, can you repeat the results of the roll call, please? Sorry about that. You're muted? Can we unmute
The
him?
vote reflects Mayor. The vote reflects Mayor and City Council voting yes.
Discussion, Councilwoman Valentine?
All right, so the reason I wanted to pull this for discussion is because this is the resolution adopting a list of projects funded by SB1. And we have taken such great advantage through our city manager, Arnie Shadbeer, of this great funding opportunity. And I wanted him to share with the public what we have been able to do and what we intend to do with this money over the next fiscal year. So I believe this is our 4th year of funding from SB1, Mr. Shadbeer. And,
Yes, yes. Go ahead,
and
Councilman.
I wanted you to share with us what you're going to be able to accomplish with this money and what our challenges might be.
Yes, Councilmember Valentine, yes, as far as use of the SB1, I can mention one of the projects that City Council awarded 2 months ago for local street improvement projects. That pre-construction meeting is going to be held next week, and we are able to tackle about 15 streets throughout the city this summer. the construction start date for local street projects is by mid-May, and it is a $3.2 million project that about $950,000 of this capital project is being provided through SB1 funding. Also, for the upcoming year, we have programmed the phase 2 of Prairie Avenue Improvement Project, which is $3.4 million, and about $800,000 of this project is being funded through SB1. In addition to that, this important funding provides for street maintenance throughout the year by Public Works maintenance crew, as is included in the last page of the attachment to the Exhibit C Exhibit A of the SB1 resolution that includes streets in every neighborhood in our city that will be repaired by Public Works maintenance crew.
So I want to thank you, Mr. Shadbeer, for taking such full advantage of this funding opportunity. And I also want to ask you, are we going to face any challenges because of the coronavirus pandemic?
Yes, you are absolutely right. We are going to, because of the less fuel consumption that started last month and may continue for a few more months. The anticipated funding from this particular program may not be the same as last year, which was about 1.6 million. It will be less. We are hoping that we can have a turning point again back in summer. Economy jumps up, and things go back to normal, hopefully. However, because of the anticipated loss of revenue in this particular program due to less fuel consumption and also reduced fuel price, this is why we conservatively programmed only about $900,000, and in case we don't see the 1.6 million coming, we have already have some cushion there to work with.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Anything else, Councilwoman?
No, no, not on this.
Okay, just
Move to approve.
second. Please vote.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Pereira,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
All right, the next item for discussion, Councilwoman?
Yes, and this is just a brief, it actually is a question. And I guess this question is to the city manager, Mr. Miyahira. Would this resolution, I see that the resolution authorizes us to seek assistance from FEMA. And I understand that there's probably more money coming down through more additional statutes in response to the coronavirus pandemic from Congress. Would this resolution also allow us to authorize us to seek assistance under any other federal program other than FEMA? And if not, can we broaden the language so that we can do that?
Well, the form that we had was submitted to us by our Area G rep, who said that all cities in our area are doing the same form resolution to apply for funds. What they are, I don't know. I don't know if Arnie has any better idea of what the amount of the funds are or what they're for. But we're all being asked to have the same resolution approved at this time.
Oh, that's fine. I just want to make sure that if there's any more money coming down, I think there's more money coming down for cities through additional legislation. And if so, I want to make sure we're on board to take advantage of it. That's why I was asking.
We'll find out and give you a report.
All right, thank you.
This is only for Cal OES disaster, which we have to file Form 130 each time when there is a disaster. We have to file the form with Cal OES. Used to be Governor's Office of Emergency Services. Now it is California Office of Emergency Services. However, for the other phases of funding, council member that you were referring to, we already have a federal ID registration number. We have already established a federal portal for that matter, and we are just waiting. Hopefully, there will be some good news on
Yes.
other phases of federal aids, which most of the cities are struggling with due to loss of revenue because of the shutdown in economy. But this particular form that we are filing, it's only disaster related with Cal OES, which can reimburse us for the costs directly related to COVID-19. For example, purchasing equipment, disinfectants, masks, and other necessary tools, even rescheduling labor hours to cope with and provide services in conjunction with COVID-19 impact. It's only for that, just reimbursing us only for those activities.
Yeah, this is Alex. Actually, what's going on in the Congress is right now they're talking about if they're going to give money to the cities and to the education system. So the second stimulus that they're discussing between the president, the Senate, and the lower house, they're discussing the issue possibility to send us some money, but it's not a guarantee yet. So they will have to compromise with the president.
But knowing our city manager, he's right on top of it. So he already said we have a federal ID. We're ready to roll whenever they send it.
Yeah, we are ready to cash it in.
Okay, so where are we at?
Move to approve.
Second, please vote. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Pataeda,
Yes.
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes. That concludes my consent calendar, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can you please, Mr. City Clerk, can you read item number 17?
Yes, now is the time and place for a public hearing repealing chapter 2.27 Design Review Board and amending chapter 17.99 Design Review to provide Planning Commission authority to conduct architectural and design review of specified projects. Planning Department's declaration publication filed. No written communications were received.
Is there anyone who would like to speak on the topic? Anybody, Mr. City Clerk, from the public?
No, there was not.
There was not? Okay. Can you read the ordinance, the actual ordinance, please?
Yes, I can. Number 2199, first reading. The ordinance of the City Council of the City of Hawthorne, California, repealing Chapter 2.27 Design Review Board and amending Chapter 17.99 Design Review to provide Planning Commission authority to conduct architectural and design review of specified projects for introduction.
I move to introduce. Item number 18, please.
Now is the time and place for a public hearing for Housing Authority 5-year plan for 2020 through 2024 fiscal year and annual plan for 2020-2021 fiscal year. Close public hearing and motion to approve the 5-year plan and annual plan for the Section 8 program.
So were there any speakers or any communications, Mr. City Clerk, from the public?
No, there was not.
Okay. So I'll declare that oral communications on the item closed. I'd like to can we go ahead and make the motion, Mr. City Attorney?
Yes.
I make the motion.
Second.
I have a question,
Just
Mr. Mayor.
The
The motion, for example, item 17, the first reading of the, I'm not in favor of eliminating the possibility of having a review board. I don't think that we have given that an opportunity or done it correctly. And I think that we should stop and slow it down a little bit and find out why we don't have a review board. And, because I feel it's a good idea to have, from my time on the planning commission, I realized that we could use a little help, as a buffer, not necessarily like, you know, a kill switch or anything like that, but I don't think that we pursued getting the people aggressively enough. And I think we're just throwing that idea away because on the premise that nobody applied. And I keep thinking about when I was asked by the mayor to serve on the planning commission, it wasn't an application, I put an application later. But people that we're looking for, they have to be approached with the question, would you like to serve your city? And give that an opportunity as opposed to wait for people to come up and say, hey, I want to do this. So I think that, in my opinion, I think it's a little premature to just kill that idea. So I don't know, that's my 2 cents for now.
That was Councilmember Tayeda, that was for the item number 2199.
Yeah,
We're already on the next one. So what we did was we introduced the item number 2199. So it's going to come back at the next meeting, and then at that point we could debate it and either vote against it or just all agree that maybe we could just take it off of the table.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got it.
So I mean, we could discuss it now. We could discuss it later.
No, I just wanted to, give an opinion on that for now. And I'm sure we're gonna have to vote on it in, next time around. But, I really don't think that we did a good enough job of trying to put that commission together.
But see, the thing is, I don't know, and I'm not going to speak for. Could it be a possibility that there's apathy when it comes to
Well,
joining the review board?
but I think it's the approach of these, like it's an honor to serve. It's an honor to serve. When I'm asked to serve, it's an honor to serve. And I think that there's plenty of talented people in the city that we could go and approach them with that approach. Listen, we want to do this. Would you mind, or would you like to be involved with us? So it's just in the approach on how you build that commission, as opposed to just accepting the fact that it's been a failure.
Mr. City Attorney and Mr. City Manager, what was our experience recruiting people for the board? Was it lackluster, or what?
Yes, there were no applicants. People were asked to join, but there was no interest. But we're already on item number 18.
Okay.
We can move on during the second reading
Yeah.
and approval.
Okay,
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so that sounds good.
I'll have a complete response to that question
no problem.
at the next meeting.
Mr. City Clerk, did we already vote on item number 18?
No. Can someone, who seconded it?
I did, Montero did.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and vote.
Please
So,
vote.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Tayeda,
Yeah,
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
So, Mr. City Manager, your consent calendar, please.
Yes, sir. I have items 20 through 23 for your approval tonight.
I said, move.
Second, please vote. Roll call.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Tayeda,
yes,
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
Mr. City Attorney, your consent calendar, please.
Yes, I have items number 26, 27, and 28.
Okay, please, I make a motion.
Second?
Please vote.
Councilmember Awad,
Yes.
Councilmember Montero,
Yes.
Councilmember Tayeda,
yes,
Councilmember Valentine,
Yes.
Mayor Vargas.
Yes.
The vote reflects mayor and city council voting yes.
So we're going to have discussion action items. I'm going to start off with my item, number 31, assisting renters. Can you guys see me facing the computer?
Yes.
Okay, good. So with regards to this item, let me take a look. I wanted to take a look at something here. I was previously concerned that some of the residents were going to face evictions during the economic crisis that we're facing right now with the coronavirus COVID-19 situation. So I spoke to our city attorney about enacting an urgency ordinance to protect the residents and the tenants that live here in the city of Hawthorne. But the city attorney told me, and we became aware real soon that the state of California, the governor Gavin Newsom, issued an executive order about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago that imposed a statewide residential eviction moratorium. So that basically superseded anything anybody was going to do, and it was very comprehensive. So it's going to be effective through May the 1st. So it's going to be effective for a bit. But I just wanted to make a couple of points for the residents' benefit that are listening and put into the record that we recognize that the state has 3 requirements for tenants to be protected. The first, before March the 27, 2020, the tenant paid rent due to the landlord pursuant to an agreement. So they were paying and they were regular on their payments before March the 27th. That's a requirement. Then the second requirement is that the tenant notifies the landlord in writing before the rent is due, or within a reasonable time afterwards, not to exceed 7 days. So if you wait 10 or 15 days, that's when the landlords can try to get you in court. So try not to delay when it comes to paying your rent. The tenant also has to have some documentation that tells the landlord and would, for the record and for any legal issues, determine if how they were terminated. So like a letter, payroll stubs, bank statements, medical bills, signed letters from their actual employers that state that they were let go, to support the assertion that they were unable to pay the rent. This documentation needs to be presented to the landlord. So it's not like you could just keep this in a file at home. You need to present this to the landlord so that they're made aware and they have all the documentation. Obviously, if they're not cooperative, that's when you're going to have to get legal representation. So a lot of people were saying, hey, why doesn't the city do anything? Well, because the state of California did it for all cities within the state of California. So, I mean, you hear all these other cities that are coming up with their ordinances. That's just, I mean, it was not necessary because the state is going to govern what's going to happen. And they're pretty strict on this. So one thing that people just need to remember for this new statewide eviction moratorium is that, remind you that the tenant must give written notice within 7 days after the rent is due if they want to be protected under the order. If you don't, then there might be a little bit of trouble. So it's important to know the difference between a pay rent or quit notice, which they might still get, but it's just a prerequisite to filing a claim against the tenant. Okay, so that was the discussion item, and so I think we're okay when it comes to our residents being protected.
Can I make a quick little point?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you for reading that off, Mr. Mayor. That was wonderful. There's other cities. I was wondering if we can extend possibly the moratorium just in case the pandemic goes even further, because now there's talks about possibly the stay-at-home order might continue into June. From getting a lot of calls from the residents, there might be a delay for them to even get enough revenue in just to even make up their missed payments. So there are some cities that have extended the moratorium, and I was thinking that this could be something that we can move forward with or look into, just to help certain residents that can prove that from this pandemic, they were unable to pay rent. The city of Long Beach created an ordinance to extend to like November 30th. It was nicely written. It was really done nicely. So I was wondering what does the council think of moving forward with some kind of extension if the stay-at-home order were to be extended?
Mr. City Attorney, do you feel that the state coverage is sufficient at the moment? Or do you also feel that the state government will move according to what they see being the issues out in the public, the strain on the renters? Do you feel that the state of California will do that for us? Or do you feel that we need to do anything to extend this?
We can take a wait and see approach and wait to see if the governor in fact extends it, if the shelter in place order extends through May 30th or even June 30th. And if it isn't, and if the moratorium isn't extended, then what I'll do is I can certainly draft an urgency ordinance doing so.
Will you
Thank
stay
you very much.
will you stay vigilant? You'll
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so thank you.
Through the chair.
Thank you, Councilmember Awad. Yes.
Yeah,
Mayor
just to reiterate your point, the tenants also have to come up with a payment plan with the landlord, okay? Besides the letter, they have to come up with a payment plan, how they're going to pay their rent. It could be like in small purchase, incremental. And also people should remind themselves that the federal government, when they send them the stimulus money, the $1,200 plus the $500 per each kid, the first thing they should do is try to pay their rent, not to go shopping, not to go buy for new TV or but to make sure they get, pay their rent with that money, because that is what that money is coming, is to pay your rent and to pay your bills. And so also they have to look at it that because the tenants and the landlords have to pay, some of them have to pay their mortgage. So they also have bills to pay. So that's what we have to have a fine line, that to encourage people to pay their rent when they receive the stimulus check from IRS, and not to spending in some other foolish item that they don't need, but to pay their rent and pay their bills. Thank you.
Okay.
And then one other point, for small businesses that are also renting and leasing, what can we address for that section as well? Because I see a lot of small businesses here in Hawthorne really taking a hit from this pandemic with shortfall in revenue. We could also possibly look into creating something that can also address that, if they can prove the same way the renters are that the pandemic really just shut them out.
Mr. City Attorney, Mr. City Attorney, I'll give you the floor. Does this protection for rental eviction extend to commercial renters, leasers?
Well, I'll look into that and get back to you with the legal confidential, and make a recommendation in terms of whether we should go ahead with that moratorium as well.
Mayor Pro Tem.
And Russell, check with the county, because if I'm not mistaken, the county of LA came up with a moratorium also on commercial properties. So check on that.
Okay.
If I'm not
To the chair.
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a small business owner, and I wanted to look into what's available, because you hear about it in the news all the time. And I went to Wells Fargo, but I was under the impression that you could go to the bank and they would, basically all they did was give me a web page to look into a web page for that. And I think that maybe you might want to look into that a little bit more and see if you could help the small businessmen with more information or easier information, or maybe even help in that area filling out the forms, because we've got a lot of Latino small business owners that might have, or just another language, let's just say not Latino, but another language that might need a little special help understanding and navigating what it takes to get any kind of money from the federal government for that program. Because that program will be out of money in no time at all,
to the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, thanks to Dr. Paul Jimenez and his intern, so I did put online on our social media some of these resources for the small business, how to get loans to help them, pay their bills. So one of the website actually is the SBA.gov. SBA.gov. The application actually is very easy, because I did apply for one of my nonprofits for for that $10,000, but they have not come back to me. But there is a lot of information I think on Instagram that I put out there through Dr. Paul Jimenez's office to the city clerk about how there's a lot of small business website and resources that they can go and have help. So probably maybe I will send that again so we can repost.
Yeah, I think that you can't send that out enough, and if it could be put like on the board on the boulevard, if we can post things on that boulevard where people are driving by all day long, it wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to just say, listen, if this is where you go for this, and a web page, it's just something. It's
Through the chair.
there's a lot to navigate through these days. There's a lot to navigate through, and everybody's got so much on their plate, just surviving and that anything that can be made.
Councilwoman?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I've been collecting a lot of information from different sources about how to assist small businesses, and I've been directing it to our website. So there's a lot of information now on the website about assistance for small businesses. One of them is SBA.gov. The other one is Treasury.gov, because there is there's an opportunity through the Payroll Protection Program, and I'll talk a little bit about that later, for small and medium-sized businesses. The Payroll Protection Program allows them to the purpose of it is to allow them to pay their employees so that they don't have to lay off their employees. So and then also Senator Bradford has been sending information, so I had that put on the website as well. So we've got a lot of information. I'd like to direct the public to our website. We've got a lot of information on our website about resources. Now, Council Member Tayeda made a great point, and that is the businesses may need help in filling out some of these forms, and I'd like to invite them to contact us. I'm certainly willing to take their calls and talk to them about how to fill out forms if they need help in that regard. And maybe we need to set up some kind of mechanism to help them fill out forms. Maybe we have resources in the city which we could possibly explore to help them.
Or like an instructional video.
Pardon me?
Like an instructional video?
That's a great idea. Yes, that's possible. Yes, possible.
Okay. We done? All right.
Thank you.
Next item 30.
Oh, yeah, so for campaign limits and then no contributions, I want us to take a look into kind of safeguarding the residents, especially for the future, kind of putting the power back into the residents' hand. And as we've always tried to do, is to push out developers from really controlling the city and the election. So I had Russell look into putting at least some kind of limitation for 2 terms per elected official. So basically 8 years and every seat. Then we have for the campaign limits, there are 2 choices that we're looking at. It's between 250 and 500 to move that one forward, and just a way to really safeguard the residents and really help safeguard our election above all.
I need clarification, Councilmember Awad.
Mm-hmm.
It says limit terms to 2 years. Should that have been limit terms to 2 terms?
It was 2 terms.
Okay.
Through the chair.
Yes.
Yeah, it's expensive to run for, that's it's not as simple. It's a little complicated because there's so much money that comes into this from hidden sources or PACs, that if you take a little guy that wants to run for office and he's only got a few dollars and he makes a valiant effort, and everybody is limited to a certain amount, but a lot of the money, and I know that this happens, I just, you get a lot of this big money if they want a particular candidate to win, and they filter the money through the giant political PACs, or how are you going to stop that? How are you going to control that? You know, because that's really, there's a lot of money that flows into these elections in this city that doesn't come directly to the candidate. It comes through a third party or a third source. How can that be controlled?
The whole idea is to really, so when council is making a decision, when we're limited to taking money from, say, city contractors or developers or things of that nature, it really starts to kind of hone in your vision and your decision process. If you're trying to make a decision off of, if I vote yes, I'm about to get $5,000, that's the kind of mindset we're trying to stop. The other thing was it's kind of like for the term limits, you know how when you have sitting water in a bucket, and if you leave it outside for a long time, it starts to fester and starts to create like maggots and makes mosquitoes. So it's kind of like that. You're trying to eliminate the mosquitoes in City Hall.
I understand that.
To have water flowing.
You know, it's the money. It's the money that's kind of a concern. You know, it takes a little time for any official to mature and be able to do the job. You know, it's hard to. So 2 years, and you're right. I don't disagree with that.
Okay.
The money issue is a little different. A little different because there's a lot of money out there that can be funneled into an election, and you don't have to do it. You know, that's where the danger of buying the candidate comes from more than the limiting the amount of money that you can get from an individual. You know, that's where the big money comes in. That's where the big checks are written.
The PAC, they call them the PAC.
The PACs, yeah.
But it's like every other city has the same kind of structure. So that's the only difference, is that if you're looking at LA, which is quite massive, and Long Beach, and especially the surrounding cities like Manhattan Beach, Torrance, they all have some kind of campaign contribution limit, and they all face the same kind of fight. We're not any different. So they've taken that first step to really safeguard the residents and the election. I just want to try and do the same thing. I think it's like the 4th time we've tried to bring this up to council, and trying to get some kind of movement on, you know, campaign reform and term reform. You know, we're talking about the future. We're not all going to be here for long, but we want to make sure that future elections, it continues to have a fresh rotation.
So to Haydar, if you would put something in writing, right, especially for the campaign contribution in your mind, you know, to come up with a draft. Because term limit, I'm in favor of that, because I've been proponent of that for a long time. Even when Michelin was in the office, we talk about term limits, but they didn't get a consent yet. But term limit is something that I'll definitely, you know, in favor of to bring the discussion to life, to talk about, you know, 8 years or 12 years, how to combine, you know, the council seats versus the mayor seat, you know, how many terms that they can run for. So that I'm all in favor of supposed to talk about. When it comes to the campaign contribution, I want to see maybe in a layout of what you envision, then maybe we can go from there.
It's just copying the other cities around us.
Okay, so bring them.
I can give us all drafts from like Redondo, Gardena, and all of them. We can look at what they've already drafted. We don't have to create something new. And we can even look at LA and Long Beach. So I'll present those 4 different options. So we're not creating the wheelhouse or anything like that. And we just follow what they have already set out.
Okay, so
that'll be all good.
So frankly, I think everybody here on this council is in favor of the campaign contribution limits, rules, and so the thing is, you're right. Councilmember Awad, we brought this up previously, even when you were on the council, like about a couple of years ago, and it didn't go anywhere. I didn't see anybody really fighting for this and trying to push for it and to make sure we see it through the last time that it came on. So that this was within your tenure, but I think right now, to be thinking about the election and trying to change the rules for the upcoming election in the midst of what we're going through, the coronavirus situation. And we just crossed the 10,000 case mark in LA City and LA County. We've had 360 deaths, and we just reached the 80 cases here in the city of Hawthorne. So I think there's a lot of other pressing issues that we should be facing and coming up with solutions for, instead of focusing on the election. But if the council's not aware, we do have, the state of California has a very strict campaign law that is going to come into effect on January 1st of 2021. So that's a very strict law that sets rules for all cities, and it's encompassing. So that covers a lot of what our concerns are, and I fully support that. I know you're in contact with a lot of people in Sacramento, so I'm kind of surprised you haven't heard about it, Councilmember Watt, but I think we should just move ahead and see how that pans out for the city.
I understand the point brought up. It was brought up before, and there was a fight. It was two, and then there weren't enough support to really back it. And the reason why I'm bringing it up was because I was a proponent of it before. And see, this is showing clarification. So I brought it back up because it's the right thing to do. The other thing that you mentioned, yes, we do have this pandemic going, but it's very easy to multitask and to confront both sides. For example, I set up a meeting with the head of the emergency response team with Mark Ridley Thomas to set up testing sites and to look at the RFK facility as a potential testing facility for this COVID pandemic for our residents. We're also looking at the back of the Memorial Center, where they have the big, huge parking lot in the back, to use that as the propping up tents like they're doing at the Galleria for additional testing. We're also discussing having mobile testing being done in the city of Hawthorne through these departments to help ensure that at least our residents are getting tested right away. That's what I've been doing. So it's very easy to do both, and especially with all the time we have, you can kind of hit more than one bird. I do want to bring it up that it was also during your tenure that it died. The thing I don't really understand is the fear and hesitation of having clean political reform and clean term limit reform. There's no fear. So I'm just trying to understand where the smiling is when you're trying to distinguish bringing it back from the past, or trying to use the little diversion of we have bigger issues. Yes, I'm sending out information as well. You can just go out and heavy and knock everything out at once. We're not limited to just one. So if there's a pandemic, doesn't mean we can't, think of every area of the city. So that's why I'm trying to bring it up. So it's not like it's the wrong time to talk about it. We brought it up before. I loved the idea from before. We wanted to bring it back, and it seems like you're trying to kill it. That's how you killed it before.
I'm not trying to kill it.
I'm just saying, that rhetoric of your discussion of saying we have more issues to deal with. Well, while I'm working with Mark Ridley Thomas and bringing that staff out here, we took a look at the RFK site. We're looking at the Memorial Center for testing. I want to see from your end, what have you been trying to help with if you're coming at us now saying we have more pressing matters?
Oh, I think the community knows about that. That's not the issue at hand. Right now, we're talking about their AB 57, Assembly Bill 571 having already been instituted, and it's going to be coming online on January 1st, 2021. That'll cover all the campaign. It says the default contribution limits for campaign contributions, and sets up a lot of other restricting types of regulations for candidates in the municipalities. And we thank you. We thank you for whatever you're doing for the community, reaching out and putting out information. Everybody's doing their part on the city council. So I think
So what's your fear of starting now?
Oh, I think we should just go on
Well, I like that answer. What your fear is of why would you want to wait till January 2021 when you can take the initiative now as a leader to really start reform from now? It's not like you don't want to be a sheep. You want to be the leader itself. So why follow when you can direct?
To the chair.
Yeah.
Okay. We're right in the middle of a campaign season already. Whether you want to accept that or not, everybody's already positioning themselves for this campaign. And it's kind of, you know, changing the rules in the middle of the game, probably not that great of an idea for something that can easily wait till after the next election. Because whatever you do is going to affect what's happening this year, which will be here in a couple of months. And in a few months, we're going to be all tied up with this pandemic. And so you're really only going to have a few months in order to, you know, make your case to the people. And so it probably just logically may not be the right timing for that. And it may be better timing to do it if the election is November 3rd, do it on November 4th.
Well, it will
So
never
doesn't
come.
affect,
This
you
is
know,
like
I mean,
the fifth time we brought it up, Mike.
no,
to
no,
give you
I
some
just got
background.
here. Listen,
So I know I'm trying to give you history. So
Yeah.
this is like the fourth, fifth time we brought up this item. So
Yeah.
if you want to say we're going to postpone it again,
Okay.
the likelihood of it getting pushed forward, I see as zero.
no,
If you take the initiative now, you're showing that you are trying to make sure that the city is on the right
Right.
track for the future. That's the difference. If you look at the history, the 4 or 5 times, do you want to go for 6?
No, but listen, there's some people, there's some
I
forces,
understand.
there's some forces in the city that have a great deal of money and that they can afford to do certain things that very few people can do. So you got to think carefully how you do this, you know, so it doesn't favor one versus another. And you're right in the middle of the contest right now, in my opinion. I think the term limit is a great idea, and it's long in coming, that you don't end up with the same mayor over and over and over, the same council people over and over and over. I agree with your analogy of the
The water?
Yeah, okay, I got that. But you do need to have a certain amount of time in order to be able to grow into the job, you know?
Okay, council members, we're going to move on to elected officials' reports, recommendations. City Clerk, Paul Jimenez?
Yes, I just want to thank everyone who's watching at home, and I just have a few updates. The first is the most significant one. I just want to thank all of our volunteers who have helped us in calling our seniors to inform them about our food programs that are offered through our Department of Recreation and Community Services. We attempted to call about 3,000 seniors, which was a significant task. So I want to personally thank Mayor Vargas, Councilmember Wad, Councilmember Montero, Councilmember Valentine, Treasurer Patterson, and our interns and community volunteers for spending their precious time in making those calls. It really has made a difference. There's also an update that as of yesterday, they're going to be delivering the free snacks. So the snacks will be delivered to seniors' homes Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. So seniors to participate in either of our food programs, they just need to call our recreation office at 310-349-1640 to register and receive details when their delivery date will be. In conclusion, I hope that everyone's staying positive through this unique period in our lives and you're enjoying the time with those family members in your homes. That's it. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate it.
Okay, Mr. City Clerk, we'll just jump back to our city manager who has an action discussion item. So we'll let the city manager just continue with that. Thank you.
Through the chair, this is only an update. It's not really a discussion item, and we don't have an update category in our council meeting, so I had to put it under discussion action. So all the actions are already being taken. As a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, we implemented several changes to our normal conduct of duties in conjunction with the use of personnel, technology, and equipment to help protect and continue to serve our citizens while protecting our employees. Our police department implemented several changes, including a team policing model which prevents overlapping shifts of personnel, limiting their risk of exposure while providing more patrol officers on the street from specialized units. Our PD department, Dr. Joe Nakagawa, has suggested new procedures which were implemented for employee safety, the acquisition of personal protective equipment, daily temperature checks, directed COVID-19 testing, travel reporting, and possible exposure reporting have helped reduce the risk of exposure. I bring to City Council's attention the importance of these measures that we have to take is completely change of business in our daily conduct of work. God forbid, if only one of our officers is impacted, it can affect others in the department, and the impact will be undescribable to the services they can provide. We implemented mandatory use of masks and gloves during all contacts with the public and all field work for our officers, public works employees, and all inspectors. Disinfecting and hand sanitizing wipes and dispensers have been set up and available in police stations, city yard, and city hall and memorial center for staff to continually clean workstations and equipment. We implemented modified work schedules and remote work schedules for all employees by reassigning duties, providing necessary equipment with accessibility to network, phone and email system, and rescheduling their field and office presence in compliance with CDC, state and county health department social distancing protocols. Our officers are conducting daily security checks of the schools and businesses, as well as community relation checks at shopping areas and businesses throughout the city. Public works employees are conducting their routine maintenance activities with grouping no more than 5 people in the yard on each day. We are receiving plans for building department, engineering, and various types of building and encroachment permits by utility contractors. With the great assistance from our IT division, not only we have been able to provide essential remote working capabilities, we are also embarking on fully online building and safety and engineering services for receiving plans, documents, and reports for review, corrections, and approval process in the next couple of weeks. Our IT personnel were absolutely phenomenal in accommodating us during this crisis. I would like to acknowledge them, their genius manager, Josh Armstrong, and his talented team consists of Peggy Holtz, George Rosales, and Paul Sherk. In response to the need for healthy meals for kids due to COVID-19, our Park and Rec department, in partnership with our Little Helpers organization, is providing free breakfast and lunch for all children 18 and under. Free grab and go meals for kids began on April 6, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. All meals must be taken to go, no congregate on site, feeding is allowed. Safe social distancing practices will be used for drive-through and walk-up meal distribution. We have been serving an average of 150 per day. Our senior snack program and senior snack drop-off. The senior snack and go has increased in number on the daily totals, as our city clerk also indicated, and a number will be increased in coming days. As word gets out, we'll see an increase in weekly totals. I think some of the seniors didn't feel it worth coming for the pickup on a daily basis, but now that our Park and Rec is delivering food and a snack, starting from April 13, the interest has increased already. For the first week, we served 121 seniors, second week 120. And now that we are starting delivery program, numbers are expected to increase. Our youth meal grab and go program had a lot of more interest in it. We had quite a bit of a difference as far as demand for youth meal grab and go. We were able to serve 648 meals in the first week, in opposed to 120 for seniors. And this number also is going to be increased because our school districts are going through their recess in next couple of weeks. So there will be more demand on this youth program. I conclude my report.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Sure.
Okay, well, we're going to return back to elected officials' reports. City Treasurer David Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Perfect.
Just want to thank the city council, the city manager, the city clerk for all the efforts you guys are doing to support the community during this time. I want to thank the community for tuning in and just staying up to date what's happening in your community. That's all I have. Hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to Council Member Mike Tejeda.
Well, I think there was a lot of interesting things talked about this evening. I like what Hader had to say about the testing and getting involved with the community to do that. I've already gone to 2 places and they said, no, I don't qualify. And I'd like to be able to, I don't think this thing's gonna go away until they test everybody or almost everybody. Of course, if they came up with a treatment, that would be wonderful. If they came up with a vaccine, that would be terrific. But I think that, you know, I would love to be able to have somebody in Hawthorne just give me a test without me having to tell them that I got a fever or I got a cold or anything like that. So I think that anything that we do in that area, that would be wonderful. I do think that that this is going to blow over because people are getting sick of it. People are getting sick of being stuck at home. And I think that they've done a tremendous job following directions, but I got a feeling, just a gut feeling, that something's going to break pretty soon and people are going to start going to restaurants and restaurants are going to start. I don't know how cities are going to handle that, but I think that it's just a matter of time before that. They may not wait. It may not be as orderly as everybody would think. I don't know. But it is an interesting time. It requires a lot of sacrifice for a lot of people. A lot of people are going to lose everything. A lot of people are going to lose everything. If we could do anything to help out the small little businesses in the city, I think that somebody should step forward and come up with an idea or whatever. But, you know, we have a lot of little businesses that have had to close down completely. And a lot of those little businesses are not going to come back if we don't hurry up and do something to help them out. In terms of the tenants, you know, it's kind of important that the tenants know that it's not the job of the landlord to underwrite the rent. That, you know, this is tough. We're all going through a tough time. We're trying to work it out, but at the end of the day, you're going to owe some rent. And I think that should also be made fairly clear, so people don't think that they're going to get away without paying 2 or 3 or 4 months worth of rent. Somebody's got to pay that rent. Otherwise, the landlord is absorbing that, and I don't think that that's going to fly. I want to thank Mike, Chief, for putting this together. This is great. And Mayor, for your leadership. And I know that these are difficult times. And we have an election coming up, and everybody's going to, you know, go to their corners and come out swinging. But I hope that it's done, you know, in a competitive and a good way. Anyway, that's it. That's it. It's a tough time. You know, it's a tough time to be stuck at home all the time, and continue to try to have a good attitude and go out and do some, you know, because we have to pay bills. You know, we have to pay bills. Bills are not gonna, you know, they're not, you know, the credit card people are not gonna stop sending payments. Your mortgage payment needs to be made. So it's a difficult time. And everybody, you know, it's amazing what the American people have done to the sacrifices that they have made in order to slow this thing down is amazing. I don't think anybody would have predicted that the people would have reacted this well. And but the patience is running thin. I could tell that just by listening to people talking. Anyway, that's it. I'll ramble on forever. So, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilwoman Olivia Valentine.
Thank you, Mayor. So this is a very difficult time for our country and for our city. This coronavirus pandemic has upended our way of life and our sense of security. It's changed the way we relate to each other, as social distancing has made it impossible for us to carry on the activities we had carried on in the past. For our community, our Hawthorne community, the city of good neighbors, it's such a difficult time because we have so many wonderful community events that we look forward to every year. This makes it very hard. I feel good just for us all being here this evening, even though we can't be together as a council, but you can see us, you, the public, can see us, and you can see that we are working for you. Our staff is working for you. We are constantly thinking of ways to help you and help our city get back on its feet, and we will get back on our feet. You have to know that loss of revenue is our biggest problem. We've experienced a tremendous loss of revenue, but we still have to continue to function. We have to continue to provide counter services for our clients, developers, and contractors. We don't necessarily have hope of getting reimbursed for everything we've spent, but we certainly are going to make sure that we try to apply for everything that's coming to us. But as a city, we will come back. We were already doing so well and on the cusp of greatness, and we're going to be right back there again. So I want everyone to feel positive like I do. This is temporary. This setback is temporary, and we are moving forward. Your government is on the case, and we are working for you. So that's all I have to say, and have a good week, everybody.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilmember Hadar Awad.
Thank you, Mayor. To kind of expand on what Mike said, so for the testing facility, so I wanted to thank MRT. He had the Los Angeles County Emergency Medical Service Agency come out, the Department of Mental Health, and the Office of Emergency Management to really look at these 3 different sites to see how we can kind of progress forward to take this kind of initiative on. Because you're right, there are a lot of residents that were turned away from getting tested at other facilities because they're so short-staffed. They're only taking people that are showing symptoms and are of great concern. If we're able to kind of expand the testing, at least knock out one city at a time, at least in LA County, it'll kind of help ease the pressure off the healthcare system. So I wanted to ask if the city manager or the city attorney could kind of look into, as we want to progress forward this kind of initiative, what steps would we need to take in order to get that one done, if there is anything, unless the county can just come in themselves and start going ahead with it. That's one. 2, you're right, for the small businesses, they are taking a lot of hit and they're hurting, especially when it comes to paying their rent on the commercial side and then their rent on the residential side. So really looking at bringing back something where we can look at extending the moratorium. So to kind of give you how Long Beach did it, they gave them up to November 30th to pay back, to get caught up. So they gave them that much. So they're still paying. They're not saying you're scot-free. They're saying, no, you have to finish paying up what you owe by at least November 30th. They just gave him that cushion. Now, they did say that they can partially pay, and if renters can't pay, please pay and push. But they did give them a little bit of an extension just to ease the pressure. Because even if we go back into a stable economy, it's going to take a few months, even then, for them to even get some kind of revenue back. So having that, also looking to helping small businesses the same way, would be great if staff could kind of put that in the report as well. The other thing for trash, I spent the weekend kind of putting out trash bins for a lot of the seniors here in Hawthorne. And I thank you, Arnie, for helping me with one of the residents. It seems that every other utility service has done something to kind of help our residents that have been impacted by the pandemic with some kind of relief. It looks like Republic does or doesn't. I don't know if there's an emergency clause where they would help, but if there is a way where we can sit down and renegotiate some kind of program, especially for our seniors, it's very difficult for them to either push the bin out or even pay the trash bill. For one senior, it was 4 bins and I had a hard time pushing it. So I can't imagine how a lot of other residents are dealing with that pandemic, with that kind of push. So is there a way for us to look into having some kind of emergency relief with Republic, at least just for the more stay-at-home order time. I know LA recently did the same thing. They had their staff say for this stay-at-home order, they're picking up the trash and not charging the residents. Now, I know we don't have complete control over our trash company, but is there a way for us to sit down and negotiate something? Is that as long as they can prove that the pandemic is the reason why they couldn't pay their payment, to give them some relief. And then I just want to hope, wish the residents here that they stay home and safe, and that we'll all get through this. It's just very difficult. And the more that we can come together and find different policies and initiatives to at least get the city back on its feet, so we can kind of push these people out and back into somewhat of a normal life as we once did. But to be frank, it's going to be different. The future is going to look a little different. The way we go to restaurants, the way we watch movies, it's going to be a little different now. So the best thing for us to do now is really come together and help each other as much as we can. Helping out more delivery services, helping out our seniors, helping those that can't get a job anymore. They've lost everything. I mean, I've talked to residents who are now losing everything, and they're living in their car. So that's the one reason of the pushing of, maybe this May 31st might not be enough. To see residents go from owning a shop or a deli or a bakery and owning a home or renting to living in their car, afraid of getting the disease. So that's the point I want to kind of push and help address that. And if we can, as a city, move together, great. And the city clerk, amazing job what you've done with your interns, especially getting out the message. I appreciate you for that. But yeah, just to one step at a time. That's all I have for today.
Thank you, Councilmember Hadar Awad. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Alex Monteiro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First of all, I want to say, thank you to all the first responders, especially, the Hawthorne PD, the firefighters, the public works people, the parks and recs, all the staff, in a sense, that has created a different environment for the people, for our constituent, during this COVID-19. It has been a challenge, and I have to take my hat off, especially, to the Hawthorne Police Department that have to go every day, everywhere in the city, putting their lives are, at stake for us. And the other day I just, saw, like the bunch of the police officers with the firefighters, coming to rescue to somebody that was having a stroke. So it's tremendous effort to see them in action, and put their lives at risk, for their lives and their families. So it's a sacrifice that they have been done for us. So I have to say, there is no word to express my gratitude, and to tell them, stay strong, be safe and healthy out there. For the small business, I just emailed some of you the information that I sent it to Paul 2 weeks ago to put it on our social media. So if Arnie could maybe give that to Eric, they can put all those websites and that 1-800 numbers on our website. So there is a lot of good information for the small business in California that have, even more than 500 people. There is a lot of information there. There is the treasures information. There is a lot of good resources for them. So please make sure that we put that in our website. And then it is like information out there, English and Spanish also. Again, actually, Mr. Hadar Awad, so it's good that you talked to Mark Lively Thomas, because I sent a proposal to Washington, and it's been circulated in Washington about Robert F. Kennedy Medical Center, because I just don't want just to be a testing site, but I want to see if they can open the hospital for us.
We discussed that inside as well for long-term use with the those three boards. They took a great deal into looking at it. So with me able to sit down with the owner and convincing him not to demolish the building and to begin actually retrofitting the inside. So that's the unique caveat that a lot of us don't know about, is that telling him to sit down, I said, look, just for this pandemic, can you please just leave it alone and start renovating the inside just so we can start implementing something?
Well,
And he said yes.
I asked the Washington to bring the FEMA, the National Guard, and the Corps of Engineers to help him refeed that hospital. That is a.
It didn't go through.
Is my proposal is still circulating in Washington D.C. So because I have contacts there, so that's something that I've been working hard to see if during this pandemic to show them that South Bay we have close to 300,000 people surround us, that we don't have no hospital. The nearest hospital, basically the public hospital, is 12 miles, at the harbor city. So we have to make sure that this pandemic have give us a clear message that we need more hospitals in this area actually. So I hope they listen, because the proposal that it was get involved the federal government, the state of California, the LA County, and some public-private partnerships. So I hope it goes and pay fruit for us in a short coming. Yeah. So we all of us, working together. That is what we have to rebuild this city, right? Because we know, like Miss Valentine said, we are losing revenues. Sales tax. We're losing the TOT tax. All these tax. The hotels are empty, right? So instead of having 99% occupancy, they only have 10% occupancy. So those kind of things that we need to start thinking about how we're going to take this city, not to go to so-called recession, right? So we have to make sure that we have money to pay staff, and that is what we have to lobby the Congress of the United States to give money to the small city, especially small cities such as us, Hawthorne. Because we don't, if we're going to be depending on sales tax and OT tax and all these other tax, it's not going to pay the bills. So we need to come up with some lobbying ourselves. So any Congress that it doesn't have to be Maxine Waters, doesn't have to be Ted Lieu, or it doesn't have to be Karen Bass, but please contact them and say, vote to give money to the small cities in the United States, special Hawthorne, that we need revenues coming to us. So again, thank you all my colleagues, because I know all of you have been on social media. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, your interns, all of us out there sending message to the people of Hawthorne to make sure that we're here for them. Even to tell you the truth, the other day, one of my colleagues from the Hawthorne Moose Lodge, his wife died. She had diabetes, and now they try to figure out if she did contract the virus. But she lived right there on Lemoyle Avenue, right here in Hawthorne. So things are hitting very close to home. Like Mayor Vargas said, right now we have close to 80 coronavirus patient in the city of Hawthorne. So we need to take care of each other. Politics will come maybe starting in July. So for now, we just need to keep this city moving forward, try to give our senior citizens, the youth, the kids, place safe for them to be, because right now they cannot be on the parks, they cannot be at churches, so they have to be at home. So we have to do virtual, classrooms, long distance, all those kind of beautiful things that people are doing for us, like Mike Kishi putting this Zoom together. Arnie working every day, he doesn't stop. And Russell continues to do his work, all the staff, like I said, it's been a tremendous asset to see Hawthorne comes together, especially in our staff, to make us look good, that your politicians still doing the work. And we have to just keep praying that maybe the social distance will end on May 15, and who knows, like I said, things might change. The governor just put a plan to reopen the business sometime in the future, but things are going to be different. Like Miss Valentine said, may might be less people in the restaurant, less people in the supermarkets until they even talk about 2022, that this virus might not dissipate like they anticipate. So we have to be prepared and to help our citizens. I agree about the moratorium. Maybe we should extend it, especially for the resident and the commercial. because these people have to come back, rebuild their lives, and it's going to take a little while. So God bless you all. Stay safe, stay strong, and special for our Hawthorne PD, the firefighters, the 911, the public works out there on the street every day. I see them, going by like nothing is happened, like the same. It's the same before COVID-19. So God bless you all and stay safe and healthy.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Monteiro. Thank you for your report. And so for the residents out there, for my colleagues, I just want to let everyone know that I am and the city is very, very proud of what Hawthorne residents are doing with regards to abiding by the stay-at-home order, helping their neighbors, and doing what they can to stay safe and healthy. The epi curve, which is the epidemic curve, has started to flatten. And that's why yesterday, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the governor of New York started talking about the plan for the future in which they are going to open up their economies, like opening up their restaurants and their public places of gathering places, and what steps that they might be able to take in the future, how long and what kind of protections. So they're starting to talk about that. And today, our Governor Newsom, also talked about that today at a press conference like a couple of hours ago, 2 or 3 hours ago, and he's starting to talk about it as well. There is a new normal, as some of my colleagues said today, and it's going to be gradual. It's not going to be rapid, but evidence of that is the flattening of the epidemic curve, which the health professionals are saying is happening. It's starting to happen. There's still issues. There's still a lot to be concerned with. This by no means any reason to let our guard down and to not protect ourselves and not to wear our face masks in public and not to protect our seniors. That's no excuse to not do that. It's just that there's light in the tunnel ahead in the tunnel that people are seeing and that our elected officials at the higher level are seeing. So I also had a conference call with Congresswoman Maxine Waters a couple days ago. I had the meeting with her and our local mayors of Gardena, Lawndale, Lomita, Torrance, and Inglewood. So we had a conversation with her, and at that meeting, I did let her know that there's an economic stress to the cities, to the residents, the rental One thing that I asked her was to make sure that she talks to our governor and local, maybe Mayor Garcetti, because as you can see that they're both coming out on TV having these press conferences, and sometimes they're both not in sync in what they say. So I told her that she can do what she can to be able to make sure that what everybody's saying, the county, the city, the state government, is all in sync. And so she said she would use her power to, communicate with them and let them know. And I also let her know that there's an economic stress because our TOT is low. That's like one of our biggest revenue sources, our hotel taxes coming in. And there's other taxes that, we're not having that high maximum input revenue. So I told her, and she promised that she would do what she could to be able to look for grants for our city. So it was a really, really great meeting. She's really fighting for us. So it's really good to talk to her and have her listen to all the local mayors' concerns. So I do want to thank everyone who's out there, the residents, for doing their part, our healthcare personnel, our police and firefighters who are out on the front lines exposing themselves but protecting us because they're taking their duty serious. City staff that's keeping the services, the basic services going. Our city council, every single one of you that's doing your part, reaching out to our residents and reaching out to our elected officials at the higher positions, and our resident volunteers. City Clerk Paul Jimenez knows about that, and there's people out there wanting to volunteer and do their part to help the community. With regards to the owner RFK, I mean, I doubt that we've tried to reach out to him to open it up as a hospital and to do certain things, but he sat on that property. Right now, he has a whole bunch of cars parked. I don't know.
The inside was renovated, so he actually started putting up walls and paint, and that's what we took the county to show them how it progressed. So I don't want you to misinform the public by saying he hasn't started. He has.
Oh, okay.
Just because of this pandemic, we've convinced him to start renovating the inside and to have a long-term idea for the hospital site.
Oh, well, then
because with COVID-19, we're going to need 3,000 beds.
No, well, I really appreciate that information. It looks like he's had a change of heart, so it's not consistent with what we've seen. But if it is, we commend him for it.
Good negotiator.
Negotiator? Oh, okay. Well, you own a used car lot, so I mean, you're able.
I have a plan. I already put the plan in motion.
But that's what we had to bring in the county.
Look, the reality is, I really do commend every single one of you for what you're doing. Because the thing is, there's some people who have existing relationships with some of our local business owners and our developers that you can bring them around 180 degrees to our cause. And so I'm really thankful to you, Councilmember Watt, for that, and Mayor Pro Tem Montero. So the next thing I wanted to, just the final thing before we go off to closed session, is that I talked to our city manager, Shadber, Arnie, and I talked to him, and I just want to tell him that I do want to proceed with, in conjunction maybe with our city clerk's office, and adopt a senior program where we as elected officials and residents of the community who are in good health and safe themselves can go out and help the local seniors with some of the errands that they need to do, and actually go out and maybe pick up their groceries for them. So I asked our city manager to go ahead and start a program to adopt a senior. Can you go ahead and let's get that started, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, we are working with our Park and Rec department to implement, yes.
Excellent. So, we're going to get out of the situation very soon. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We're starting to hear little tidbits of hopeful information and redirection from our state leaders and our federal officials with regards to this. So just keep doing what you're doing, residents of Hawthorne. And we as your elected officials here that are your representatives, every single one of us, all 7 of us, will continue doing what we are doing for you to protect you and keep you healthy. So is there anyone who wishes to speak on the closed session?
Mr. Mayor, just an update on Miss Love. Miss Madeline Love has been at the Centinela Hospital for 2 weeks. So she's there. They were trying to get like a nursing home, but then thanks God they decided not to send her to a nursing home. So she's at the hospital at the Centinela in Inglewood. So she's been there for these past 2 weeks, and she's not doing well. So just keep her in your prayer. And I know I talked to Jarvis at the Holly Park, so just to keep eye over there. But Ms. Love is not doing well. So we're just hoping that she will survive this crisis. So, and the other person that I forgot to mention that has been very good to us to send us all daily information is Samuel English. Samuel, right? He's been sending us these daily updates, almost every twice a day. So thank you, Samuel, for his work, Arnie. Okay.
So we're going to give the person who's controlling the meeting the
chief.
Yeah, the 10-second warning so that you could take all the elected officials who are not in the closed session and any city staff that's not supposed to be in this closed session. So go ahead, Chief Ishii, can you?
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, What should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
New York is the canary in the coal mine. What happens to New York is going to wind up happening in your city and in your community. We are going to fight every way we can to save every life that we can. We are all first responders. Your actions can either save or endanger a life. Job one has to be save lives. That has to be the priority.
We have to stay home.
Not just to protect yourself, but to protect others.
Stay at least 6 feet away from other people. 2, arm's length. Just because you're at home
doesn't mean that we can't be alone together.
wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash your hands. Scrub them while you sing this song. Wash, washy, wash, washy, wash, wash. Rub your hands and fingers and the places in between. Using soap and water makes your hands so clean. Wash your hands. Great job, you're almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, now dry.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds, just like Elmo.
How do you protect yourself and others from coronavirus?
Avoid touching your eyes, your nose, and your mouth.
Wash your hands often with soap and water for 20+ seconds.
Clean and disinfect surfaces and objects.
Together, we can help slow the spread.
As the nation's doctor, I often get asked, what should I do if I think I might have coronavirus?
People who are sick should stay home. You don't go to an emergency room, you don't go to a clinic. You get on the phone and you ask for advice and instructions from your physician.
We don't want you to go into the ER or the doctor's office without talking to them first because you might spread coronavirus to someone else. Please visit coronavirus.gov for more information.
Okay, right. The city council meeting is called to order. We have met in closed session for a conference pursuant to the agenda. Mr. City Attorney?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the labor negotiator has been instructed.
Okay. Is there anything further from council members or staff? If not, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.